What is up, you guys? My name is Storm Ryan. It's been a while. When I was 16 years old, I started this YouTube channel to talk about the transphobia I faced in my day-to-day life, especially at school. At the time, I didn't know the difference between making a video unlisted or public, so when I tried to send an unlisted video link to my school board in an effort to stop talking about triggering experiences over and over again, I accidentally made it public and it went viral pretty quick. I kept posting about my trans experiences online to try and stay close with the community we had there while I tried to figure out where I belonged in real life. Unfortunately for me, real life was pretty cruel, so I did my best to stay locked up in this online world I created for myself where everyone unquestionably praised everything I said. You would think that when people get hurt, they would do their best to not inflict that same pain onto others, but that is exactly what I did. I tried to hurt others to make myself feel better. At first I wasn't planning on releasing this video until the end of summer, kind of like an official goodbye before quitting my job as a YouTuber. Then I was rushing to finish it in February after a bunch of other videos about this topic came out. I needed to let some words from people I heard in the past sit with me, but now I think I'm finally ready to talk about this, so here we go. To put it simply, I've done some fucked up things. I've made some fucked up videos. I've promoted fucked up influencers, and I've bullied other influencers completely off the internet. Some of those people had to end up going to therapy. Like, I was just like unbelievably so rude and mean-spirited that I didn't see the people I was targeting as people. As fucked up as that is. A year ago, I made my Ariel video and said that I thought the most embarrassing moment in my career was working with her, but the root of the most embarrassing thing I did was pin the trans mass community against each other. I used transmedicalism as a weapon against non-binary people because for a long time I felt like they made my identity invalid in the eyes of cis people. Which is stupid. Obviously, if someone is transphobic, they're just transphobic because they hate trans people. It doesn't matter if you're binary or gender non-conforming. They just hate trans people for being trans, and bullying each other isn't going to change that. If someone's nice, then they're nice, and if they're mean, then they're mean. Transphobes are mean. I can't fix that by removing the target off of my back and nailing it to another trans person whose appearance is more like out there than mine in an effort to make transphobes forget about me, because not only does it not work, but it's just like not right. My entire life revolved around seeking cis approval. Like every day I thought about being trans in the most negative way and tore myself apart over it. It took a lot of change in my life to realize that the only person I needed to validate myself to was me, and once I got into that like headspace, a lot of other good things started to fall into place for me. I stopped being so sad and insecure, and I started moving on to accepting myself. My depath from transmedicalism has been very gradual. I've kept most of my opinions quiet on the internet out of fear of either getting sucked back in or being accused of like turning full SJW. But I think I'm finally comfortable enough to talk about how I feel and how my opinions and views have changed. I think that transmedicalism has gotten to a point beyond just I want my medical transition covered by health insurance. Like, that statement is 100% reasonable, but I feel like transmedicalism has like turned to represent something else now. I watched the community go from advocating for trans healthcare to becoming like a fandom or a cult. It was also a very easy gateway to bullying, and I say easy because of how easy it was to disguise as criticism. Like, trans viewers would see my channel and expect a safe place because you're in the same community. I made a video in 2018 where I invalidated a pretty big non-binary YouTuber's identity in a way that they had just never experienced before because I was also queer. Most of my viewers are queer as well. Not only did they follow my footsteps, like going to leave mean comments on that person's channel and stuff like that, but a lot of cis-het conservatives also found that video and really seemed to like it, and a lot of channels also piggybacked off of my video on their channels. Surprisingly, this isn't about Milo Stewart, but they do have a really good video they just released like last week about their experience with being like the main target, I would say, of like online harassment for years. And if you're watching my video, then I would assume that you're interested enough to watch something like that, or at least to hear out someone else's side besides my own. So please go do that. Brennan Beckwith also has a really good series, like a whole 3-part thing. Definitely suggest checking all those out. These people end up getting doxxed, they end up getting bullied and chased out of queer spaces online and also queer spaces in real life. They're constantly anxious that someone in public will recognize them from a viral video that dehumanized them and hurt them, or follow them home and hurt their families. Not to mention the victims of my videos and so many other videos like mine end up in therapy. Someone I've never directly spoken to until a couple months back ended up in a mental hospital after a couple of really big trans YouTubers targeted them. The patients in the hospital that they were staying with also bullied them and took it as far as sending me and some of those other trans YouTubers like pictures of him and like things that he talked about in personal group sessions and stuff like that. And I never saw any of those messages, but I'm so sorry that they were sent. I don't mean to condone any of that at all. Like I absolutely cannot imagine how unsafe that person like constantly feels. Having an audience of impressionable young people to cheer you on makes you feel invincible. I created my own echo chamber and I couldn't get out until it was too late, basically. Transmedicalism validated my existence as a binary trans person living with dysphoria to cis people, and in turn that left out a really big chunk of the community, and that was super irresponsible of me. If you do find yourself open to a deeper dive on transmedicalism, I linked a great Deep Path playlist by Milo Stewart below, and if you still identify as a transmedicalist or even a centrist on the situation, I suggest ContraPoint's video Transgenders to discover how enabling that ideology can be harmful to you, and suggest how weak the argument in itself is. Other creators in the playlist like Ash and Daniels go more in depth on how to combat transmedicalism and talk about its roots in fatphobia, ableism, and racism. But the video that hit me the hardest was Lily's documentary, Millions of Dead Genders, and Mogai Retrospective. Until her video, I was definitely still stuck in more of a centrist mindset, but she presented both like sides of the argument really respectfully and came to the conclusion that we just need to move forward. Our community is still growing, and sitting and debating each other's identities online isn't going to help us with any actual issues at hand, like homelessness faced by LGBT youth or religion-based discrimination and its ties to conversion therapy. Focusing on validation from others online just isn't practical. At the end of the day, some mean transphobe is just going to say and do anything they can to tear you down. Wouldn't it make more sense to accept people in our community with open arms instead of joining in on bashing them? After watching this playlist, I branched off into other creators like Cops Hate Mo. I think they show a more positive future for trans mask YouTubers online, and I highly suggest you check them out along with some other creators I'm putting up on screen. If you are a trans person wanting to be a content creator or a YouTuber or just make a difference in the trans community in general, take it from someone who's contributed to ruining it online. So many people are going to watch your video. Okay, so many people are going to unquestionably listen to anything you have to say because you are trans. Cis people are going to click out of curiosity or hopefully wanting to better the way they treat trans people. Trans people are going to click your video seeking guidance or hope for a future that they can't see for themselves. So whatever views you have or ideologies you present or personal experiences that you choose to share with the world, please just remember to be kind and considerate. The trans mass community is in a place of healing right now, and if you're not going to do anything to help progress that, then it's better that you just leave the conversation. I won't be disappearing offline. I'll most likely stay just as active as I have in the past year with life updates or some vlogs with friends. Maybe I'll bring my art back as well. I used to feel very discouraged with posting content I enjoyed because I knew it wouldn't compare to views I was getting on other videos unless it was like LGBT themed in a way. In the beginning it was really easy for Aaron and I to rely on just being in like a gay relationship to get clicks and views and pay rent with that, but it's just not worth it to us anymore. We gained a very invasive audience who fetishized us. It's just not worth it. I don't plan on reintroducing trans topics to my channel anytime soon unless it's about my own transition, but I am open to having discussions with other trans people on their platforms. Before I end this video, I want to recognize an important step I took to better myself, so hopefully some of you can do the same. It took me a really long time to make this video because I first needed to apologize to the people I hurt and hear them out, and while it was cathartic for both sides, it really opened my eyes to how much damage I did to them as individuals. The knowledge that I taught countless of my other trans viewers that it was okay to harass someone for not conforming to a binary means that I'm not only responsible for their victims, but their pain as well, because they also are hurting. I'll never know exactly how deep this runs for everyone, but I am very sorry for taking my own pain and inflicting it onto so many of you. I don't think I can ever forgive myself for doing something like this, and I don't think other people should either, but I do want to say that I'm sorry for everything, and I hope that this video helps aid you in whatever step you're in with your healing. Thank you for listening to what I have to say. See y'all some other time.